Hi, my name is Gwen Kelso, and I am a graduate coordinator here at the LBJ School. Chances are, if you have questions about your application or you have emailed the LBJ School, I or one of my teammates have responded to you. It's very nice to have you here with us today as we walk through the application process. I know there are lots of questions about the application, so I thought we'd spend just a little bit of time walking through what you need to do. So please bear with me. I'm going to share my screen with you, so you might see my head bouncing back and forth. So the first thing I recommend you do is you go to our LBJ School website. You'll notice under admissions, there's a number of programs, how to apply. So for the process of this webinar, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the MPATH program. So you're just going to click on the How to Apply tab. It is going to load. Let's take a moment to talk about these deadlines while my website is loading. So we have two deadlines. We have the December 1st deadline and we have the March 15th deadline. Our December 1st deadline is our priority funding deadline, and essentially that means that everybody who applies by the December 1st deadline is automatically considered for admissions fellowship money. To clarify, that doesn't mean that if you do submit by December 1st, you're automatically going to get an admissions fellowship, and it doesn't mean if you submit after December 1st, you won't get an admissions fellowship. So that just means that if you submit your completed application, and we're going to talk more about the word completed here in a second, by the December 1st deadline, you don't need to do anything else. You're just automatically considered for an admissions fellowship. Should there be money remaining after that December 1st cohort is awarded, that money, those fellowships, will be applied to our round 2 candidates. So just so you know, if you are applying by round 2, you don't have to fret. That doesn't mean that you won't get funded, but it does mean that our December 1st applicants essentially have first priority, first dibs, if you will. Great. So you will see that as soon as you go to the How to Apply, you will see our application deadlines. Now, deadline means that all of the materials, everything that we require, must be received by that deadline. So our admissions committee can't review incomplete files. So if we don't have your test scores, if we're missing your letter of recommendation, if we don't have your statement of purpose, your file is considered incomplete and can't be forwarded to the admissions committee. Once those materials come in, it will then, of course, be kicked up to the admissions committee for review. But if you want to apply by that priority deadline, you just have to make sure that you have planned your testing appropriately. Great. So the application process. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to complete an Apply Texas application. This is an online platform. Most Texas state schools use this platform. You go online, you complete it. Within that application, you'll have a space where you can enter contact information for your recommenders. Once you have entered their information, the system automatically sends them an update and instructions as to how to submit your letters of rec. So you complete this Apply Texas application. When you are done doing that, you will be asked, of course, to complete the application fee. You can opt to pay later, but you will need at some point to pay for that application for it to be able to be processed and go through. If you are applying to a dual degree, so that means that you are looking for a degree at LBJ with one of our partner institutions. When you go to the Apply Texas application, there's going to be a drop-down menu whereby you can choose your degree code. For our dual degree seeking students, you're going to choose a single dual degree code. So it'll be one code that'll essentially span both programs. Once you've completed your Apply Texas application, you're then going to need to go to each school's website, and we're currently on our LBJ school website, to follow each school's application requirements. So if you're applying to LBJ school in engineering, it's not just enough to submit the LBJ school required application materials, you'll also have to submit whatever the School of Engineering requires. Great, so you have completed the Apply Texas application. It is very painless. Then you're going to need to submit your transcript. So here's the thing about your transcripts that is very confusing to students. You will contact your school and you will have them submit to you, the student, an official transcript. When you receive that transcript and it has a little stamp on it that says it's no longer official if you open it, believe it or not, you're going to open it. You're going to scan it and you're going to add it to what's called a My Status page. What's a My Status page, you ask? Once you complete that Apply Texas application, typically 24 to 48 hours later, you gain access to a website called My Status, and it sounds exactly what it sounds like. It is the status of your application. It's where you're going to go and you're just going to essentially track what's been submitted and what you're waiting for. It's also where you will upload any of your support materials, including your transcripts. So once you have access to that My Status page, once you've scanned that transcript, you're going to go ahead and add it to that My Status page. You will need to, if you attended a number of different schools, you will need to submit transcripts from each school that you attended. If you have questions, and we'll talk a little bit about what to do if you have questions with transcripts shortly, but you'll want to contact the Graduate and International Admissions Center for specific information about transcripts. More about that in just a second. The next thing that you're going to need to do is submit your test scores. So the LBJ school requires the GRE. If you happen to be one of those students that is seeking a dual degree, say with law, their testing requirements are different. They're going to want the LSAT. We at the LBJ school do not take the LSAT, so that essentially means you are taking 2 tests. So plan ahead. We require the GRE. You need, as I mentioned before, that word deadline. Those GRE scores do need to be submitted by the time the application deadline rolls around. So December 1st, we need to make sure that we have your scores by then. Your GRE is required. There is not a waiver for that. The next thing you're going to need are letters of recommendation, and people have a lot of questions about letters of rec. So typically it's 2 professional references and 1 academic reference. Some of you guys, like myself, have been out of school for a little while and perhaps you don't have an academic reference, and that's completely fine. You can use 3 professional references. You just need 1 of those references to speak to how you're going to thrive as a student here at LBJ. Our admissions committee wants to know, how are you going to be? How are you going to handle the rigor of our program? So just make sure that 1 of your professional references touches on your ability to thrive as a student. Similarly, if you are applying right out of undergrad and what you have is a bunch of academic references, that's what you have and that's okay. Your resume. So this is where people get really confused. You'll notice on our website, we don't have resume formatting requirements. And that's because we really do pride ourselves on having a very diverse candidate base. So it doesn't make any sense to say that a resume has to fall within a certain formatting requirement because we have people coming from all walks of life. So I recommend you keep that document to 1 to 2 pages, but what you do with that and how you do that is up to you and your professionalism. But that is a document that will also be uploaded to your My Status page. The next thing we have here is this statement of purpose, and this is a very important document. Similarly, you will notice that there is nothing about formatting requirements. So what I like to say to people when they ask is, just like our resume, we have a number of people coming from different walks of life. So we don't want to restrict you in any way. We want to give you the opportunity to really shine and show the admissions committee who you are, how you're going to thrive. You'll notice that there are questions that need to be addressed. I would really recommend you use your best judgment here. 2 pages feels about right, and some type of a normal font. If you go a little above that, that's not the end of the world, but again, use your best judgment. The other thing that the statement of purpose does that I want to highlight is, say that you took the GRE and you had the flu that day and you didn't do as well as you wanted to. The statement of purpose is a place where you can really underscore anything that you feel like might be a hole in your application. Maybe your GPA, you were going through health issues when you were in undergrad and you had 1 semester where you didn't do as well as you wanted to. Again, the statement of purpose is a place where you can really let the admissions committee know what's going on and why you are going to be a stellar candidate here at the LBJ school. Great, so we have a little checklist. So you've done your Apply Texas application, you've submitted your application fee, you've done your official transcripts, You've submitted your GRE scores. The GRE, and unfortunately, we don't have any control over when we receive the GRE. I believe the grad school says give it 4 to 6 weeks. Typically, they come in a little sooner than that, but we have no control over that. So my best recommendation, again, is to use your best judgment and plan ahead. The next thing, if you are an international student who is coming from a country where English is not the first language, you will be required to take a TOEFL test. I know there are a number of different language tests that you can take. The LBJ school only accepts the TOEFL. Next, we have our letters of rec, our current resume, and then your personal statement of purpose. So let us take a moment to go to the graduate school. Earlier, I mentioned the Graduate and International Admissions Center, and that's what this website is. It's the grad school at UT. This is essentially where your Apply Texas application starts. This is where the whole process starts, is over here at what we lovingly refer to as GAC. So once you come, where to begin, how to apply, I recommend you go to the how to apply, and they're going to walk you through most of what I've already explained to you, but they're going to break it down even more and give you your application fees. They'll tell you a little bit about fee waivers. They'll tell you more specifically about how you submit transcripts. I really can't underscore enough, don't mail your transcripts. If you mail your transcripts, it's going to delay your application and it may not get reviewed. You really need to have it sent to you, and you need to scan it in, and you need to follow this process right here. Again, we're talking about the test scores. They, I believe, say 4 to 6 weeks, right? University code, so this is the code you will use if you are taking the GRE or TOEFL. This is the university code where you will submit that information. And then, of course, it tells you to complete the departmental requirements, which we just walked through. This is a great website. It's going to tell you all sorts of information, right? The next thing it's going to have is contact information. So say you have an issue with your transcript, maybe you studied abroad and you're not really sure how to get that transcript, do they need that transcript? This is where you'll want to email GAC, and all of their information is here. If for some reason you're having an issue with your My Status page and things aren't uploading the way you want them to, they can help you with that. If you have questions about your test scores, they can help you with that. Letters of rec, so say you accidentally put in the wrong email address for one of your recommenders and you need to somehow reset the system, they'll be able to do that for you. If you have questions about your residency, are you a Texas resident? What makes a Texas resident? These guys will be able to help you with that. Also, if you are an international applicant and you have questions about visa, although I can help you with some of that, these guys I just have nothing but the best things to say about the Graduate and International Admissions Center. They're incredibly helpful. So other questions that we get a lot are about tuition, which doesn't really have a lot to do with the application process, but just going to go ahead and give you a heads up. We have a tuition calculator here at UT. So if you are interested in seeing what tuition is going to run you, and now mind you, it has 18-19. If you're applying 19-20, it may change a little bit, but at least it'll give you a sense of where we are right now. We are a graduate school. You will select the college, which we are the LBJ School of Public Affairs, and the number of hours that you want to take. Full-time here at the LBJ School is 9 hours. And that gives you a sense of what you would be paying. They have in-state, they have out-of-state. If you are a dual degree seeker and you want to know more about what that tuition runs, you'll just click here and it'll take you to a table that will describe and explain what those costs breakdown looks like. So just as a refresher, I really recommend you spend a little bit of time on the LBJ School website. Each program, so if you go again to admissions, how to apply, it'll take you to a landing page, and while it's thinking about that, great, you'll have public affairs, you'll have MGPS, you'll also have our DC concentration. Each is going to be pretty similar, pretty similar, except you might notice that some of the questions are just a little bit different between degree programs. So just keep that in mind. So if you want to apply to MGPS or if you want to apply to the DC concentration, I recommend obviously you visit that website and you see what those variations are. Oftentimes people ask if you are applying to a dual degree and you are submitting your statement of purpose, can you write one statement of purpose? That's ultimately up to you and your best judgment. So when our admissions committee is looking at you as an applicant, they are looking at how you're going to thrive at the LBJ school. So if your letter speaks only to the law school or speaks only to the business school or speaks only to engineering, they may wonder why you're applying to the LBJ school. So just keep that in mind. I'm not saying that you can't submit just one letter, but just be thoughtful about your statement of purpose. I would also, again, because you're applying to two programs discreetly, the different school is going to have different questions, most likely that they're going to want you to address. So again, use your best judgment, spend a lot of time on that website scouring through to figure out what is going to actually be required of you. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to email lbjadmit, that's ADMIT, at austin.utexas.edu, and one of the grad coordinators here will absolutely get back in touch with you and help you out. I hope you have a great application process, and I look forward to speaking to you in the future. Thank you so much.